This was a carefully planned, high-stakes military operation. 3 Navy SEALs, disguised as journalists, infiltrated a warlord's base deep inside Sarajevo. Once they got close enough to the target, they suddenly made their move. One SEAL knocked the warlord unconscious with a single punch, while another drew his knife and silently took out the nearby guard. Meanwhile, their teammate outside pressed the detonator. A massive explosion blew open the ground, creating an escape route. Within seconds, the team grabbed the warlord and began their retreat through the river tunnel. But just as they were about to get away, they spotted an enemy raft below. The SEALs immediately opened fire from above, ripping the small boat apart. However, the gunfire drew reinforcements. Another raft rushed in, and one of the enemy soldiers launched a rocket. The blast tore a huge hole in the wall, forcing the SEALs to fall back the way they came. During their retreat, they stumbled upon an underground weapons depot. Among the crates of ammunition stood a fully functional M84 battle tank. The SEAL commander instantly came up with a crazy idea, and the tank burst straight through the wall, charging through the enemy compound. Enemy trucks gave chase, firing rocket-propelled grenades at the tank. Sparks flew, but the thick armor held strong. The SEALs quickly loaded the main gun, spun the turret around, and fired. One perfect shot obliterated the pursuing truck in flames. Suddenly, a militant leapt onto the tank, trying to drop a grenade down the barrel. The commander hit the brakes hard, sending the man clinging to the cannon. The grenade exploded in his hands. The commander radioed headquarters for air support, but the response came back cold and clear. "Negative, you're on your own." At the same time, an enemy tank appeared behind them, locking onto their position. The commander yanked the controls, causing the M84 to drift sideways, narrowly dodging a direct hit. He then rammed through a checkpoint, charging full speed through enemy fire toward the extraction point. To shake off the pursuers, he ordered the gunner to target a nearby communications tower. The tower collapsed, and the SEALs gunned the engine, racing through just before the debris crashed down, cutting off their pursuers. But their relief didn't last long. Out of nowhere, a tank rolled out in front of them, its cannon aimed straight at their vehicle. Another tank appeared behind. They were trapped on a bridge with no way out. After a tense pause, the commander made a split-second decision. He turned the turret, aimed the cannon at the bridge's guardrail, and shouted, "Hold on! Fire!" The bridge erupted, and with one final push on the throttle, the M84 launched off the bridge, diving straight into the void below. How terrifying can modern warfare really be? Deep beneath 10 meters of Arctic ice in the Barents Sea, a U.S. attack submarine silently shadowed a Russian nuclear sub. For hours, the Russians showed no sign of detection. Inside the control room, the U.S. sonar operator smirked, mocking the enemy's blindness. Then suddenly, the alarm blared. A torpedo was heading straight for them. "Hard to port!" the captain shouted, but it was too late. Moments later, the entire vessel vanished from sonar. An hour later, inside the Pentagon, U.S. military command realized the sub had gone missing in the Barents Sea. The Secretary of Defense immediately ordered the USS Arkansas, docked nearby, to set course for the last known coordinates. Upon arrival, the submarine began a deep dive, launching a small underwater probe to scan the seafloor. Soon, they found the wreck, a mangled American sub resting on the ocean floor. All 100 sailors aboard were dead. A massive hole in the hull made one thing clear: they'd been hit by a torpedo. The Arkansas's captain went pale. Something wasn't right. "Battle stations," he ordered, but it was already too late. Hidden in the narrow cracks of the ice above them, a Russian nuclear submarine had locked onto their position and fired 2 torpedoes. The sonar operator picked up the incoming signal instantly. "Evasive maneuvers! Deploy decoys!" the captain barked. Countermeasures launched, buying them precious seconds. After pinpointing the enemy's position, the captain gave the order. "Return fire!" A torpedo shot forward, but the Russians had wedged themselves between layers of ice. The missile passed right by. Thinking fast, the captain ordered the sub to descend to 40 feet, flanking from the side. 10 seconds later, target acquired. The torpedo slammed into the Russian sub, tearing it apart. But the crisis wasn't over. The 2 Russian torpedoes, having shaken off the decoys, locked back onto the Arkansas. "Dive! Take her down!" The captain drove the sub toward the ocean floor, steering the torpedoes toward the wreck of the sunken U.S. vessel. Then at the last second, he swung hard to starboard. The torpedoes detonated on the wreck instead. The Arkansas survived, barely. The crew finally took a breath of relief, but just as they prepared to return home, the sonar operator froze. "Captain, I'm picking up something. 3 long, 3 short, a distress signal." They scanned the area and were stunned. There was another Russian sub lying on the seafloor, and the SOS was coming from inside it. Judging from the blast marks, it wasn't hit by a torpedo. It had exploded from the inside. The captain's face hardened. This wasn't an attack, he said. Something's gone wrong in their own ranks. He ordered an immediate rescue. Two divers piloted a mini-sub down, clamped onto the Russian escape hatch, and pulled out the surviving Russian captain. The Arkansas's captain reported the incident to Washington, but even the Pentagon couldn't figure it out. What was Russia really doing? To find out the truth, the U.S. sent in 4 Navy SEALs. Under a stormy, lightning-filled sky, they parachuted into the Russian border region. After checking their gear, they hiked through the mud to a riverbank. Across the water lay a Russian naval base. The SEALs set up surveillance equipment, releasing a small drone sub to capture live footage from the harbor. The video streamed straight to the Pentagon. At first, they saw normal base activity. Trucks, weapons, soldiers moving in and out. But then, the camera caught something that made every analyst in Washington go silent. Because at that very moment, inside that Russian base, a coup was unfolding. One that would soon shake the entire world.